What's going on, everybody? Good evening. Welcome to the Black and Gold. This is HiBruiNation. This is our first live Q&A. I think I'm speaking very loudly. We want to welcome you all to this first live show that we're doing. You all know who I am. I'm Cam. Twitter handle Goosey1994 down there. Give me a like and a follow, or I don't know how that works. And next to me, as always, is my glorious co-host and Matt Daddy V Vogel, and his Twitter handle you can also see. So also give him a follow for your daily dose of Boston news, Boston sports in general. And we got some news. So we actually just got our Twitter handle for our podcast. So it's at HiBruiNation Pod. Give us a follow, guys, and stay in the new. Stay in the
got a lot of good content coming out soon.
Got a lot of good content coming out, buddy. How we doing?
I'm feeling good. We got episode 9 on right now. We almost double digits. Feeling good. First live show. Feeling good. Did I lose you?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's exciting, right? I did the episode 2 weeks ago with Mike. Shout out to Mike from Something Brewing, who came on here and definitely gave us a good show. Had some good conversation. Definitely glad to have Vogel back. But it was also just such a pleasure working and talking with Mike too. So if you guys also haven't checked his podcast out, it's Something Brewing. So also go give them a listen. They're a great group of guys that I've come into contact with. So I was very happy that they took the time to come out and do that. But we're here. We actually got quite a few questions submitted to us, so we'll kind of get started with a couple of the questions here, and then we'll kind of answer them as we go. And please, guys, who are listening in the chat, feel free to drop them. We can see the comments live, so if you guys want to get involved in the conversation, and it's just anything NHL, anything Bruins. Let us know if one of you guys thinks we look good, if we don't look bad, or how we get dressed in the morning. I don't know. Just we're very fluid here at HiBruiNation.
Be nice to Cam though. He had a late night.
I had a late night last night. I went to the Metallica concert at Gillette, it was absolutely amazing to be there. It was not absolutely amazing to get back home at 3:00 in the morning to be up at work for 6. So that was absolutely awesome, or not rather.
Not a great one-way in, one-way out system.
Stupid. They need to fix that. I think I angrily tweeted out last night. I'm like, this is so bad, and I can't remember if it was because I was on that beginning stage of becoming hungover or because I was just too exhausted to deal with this. But credit to my friend who was driving, because there was no way I would have been able to do it.
I love the text. We talked going back and forth for the concert, and you were just like, "This is the last text you're gonna get, dude. I'm in a body bag." Like,
yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Yeah, my English was not Englishing today.
So funny.
Well, yeah, it's Bailey's fault. She gave me too many drinks.
Shout out
she
Bailey.
Let me mooch off of her. Shout out to Bailey, by the way. We love you, Bales. Yeah, all right. So let's get started. Yeah, like I said, we had a couple of questions dropping us from some direct messages on Twitter, and so thank you guys for submitting those. One question that we got is, what position do we feel the Bruins will finish in the division? And I know we've kind of touched upon this on the podcast, but some people might not have listened on that. But why don't we talk about where we think they're going to finish at the end of the year and why we think they're going to finish there?
You want to take the reins first, or?
Sure. Yeah. I personally think that they finish second or third. It's kind of a toss-up between them and Toronto for me. So either Boston gets second and Toronto gets third, or Toronto gets second and Boston gets third. I think Boston, as I've stated several times, several times before, that they got stronger. I think even with the minor acquisitions that they made, and I will call them like minor in terms of quantity, they acquired Elias Lindholm, and then they acquired Nikita Zadorov, Max Jones for some depth. But I think even just at the acquisition of Elias Lindholm, that was a huge bolster to the offense in a way that now you have that true 1C. In terms of the defense with Nikita Zadorov, you have a huge guy on defense Sure, we lost Allmark, which was not great, but we still have Jeremy Swayman and we got Corpusalo, who's
Hopefully, when he
a
signs.
hopefully he's an RFA. I think it's a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think we have that. So the team really, I think, got better. I still think, I'm going to echo what I've said previously, that the second right wing spot is still a question mark for me. But I think the team got stronger, and I think that's where they're at second. I don't think they got worse.
Yeah, that was probably sort of same for me. I was going to say top three. Toronto and Tampa were, not overly far behind us. Who did you? If you say 2 or 3, you think Florida's still gonna take the number 1 spot?
They're just so deep, man, at center. You've seen that lineup.
Yeah.
It's
Part of me, when I say top 3, part of me wants to say like, oh, dude, top of the division. But I mean, like you said, they're so good.
Maybe if Bobrovsky falls off, and if their defense isn't as strong, but at that point, then I'll still say Bruins are still 1 or 2, and then I think maybe Toronto goes up to 1 or 2. Like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't think Florida falls off that much. They're just too good. They lost some potency, but I think 2 or 3 for me.
Yeah, I think top 3. I mean, last year we finished 1 point behind Florida, 7 points ahead of Toronto. I think that even though we lost a couple of guys, I mean, we're going to see how Swayman plays for a full year. We've never seen him play as a sole number 1. So we'll see, if that hopefully doesn't get fatigued, playing mostly every game. Again, Toronto's still going to be on even if we are too, Toronto, I guarantee, is still on our heels. I'm excited to see the new guys play. Hopefully we've talked about it before, and who knows when training camp starts, how those guys look. But some of the younger guys coming up, filling some spots. Zadorov, I'm excited to see on the blue line. So, I agree. I think top 3. Where in that top 3, it's going to be hard to tell. But what do you think about the rest of the division? I mean, you said Bruins 1 or 2. Do you think there's any other big changes?
I think Tampa falls out. But I've been saying that for the past 2 years. I didn't think they'd have enough left in the tank, but I think after losing Sergachev and Stammer and a whole bunch of other pieces, I just don't think they did enough. Yeah, they got Jake Gensel. How much is that really going to help you? Yeah. I feel like you lost a pivotal piece in your captain, and who's going to be the captain of that team? There's just so many questions. I think the top 3.
I listened to the episode he did with Mike. But by the way, great job holding down the fort. That was awesome. You guys did fantastic. Mike's I can't wait to have him back on. I'm bummed I missed that one, but you were saying it's so weird to see Stamkos in that Nashville yellow.
Yeah, but he looks good.
He does, but it's strange.
Yeah, it's weird. It gives, I don't know. We definitely have some mixed feelings about it, but it's a strange thing. And thanks to Talking Habs, always putting Boston in doubt but never out. So that's Rick. Thanks, Rick. Rick is our executive producer of HiBruiNation. He's affiliated with us here at Don't Puck with Media. He's always kind enough to take the time out of his day to come here and do this with us, and he enjoys.
He won't come out and say he's a bigger Bruins fan than we are. He told us before the show.
Yeah, exactly. He'll say
he won't say it out loud, but you know he is.
Yeah, he's like that closeted Bruins fan, guys.
Oh God,
so.
yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. All those Montreal jerseys from fake. They're really Bruins on the other side. Yeah, I think for the rest of the division, I think the top 3. He says lies. He says they might be. I think for the rest of the division, it's a toss up, man. I think the top 3 are solidified. It's going to be Florida, Boston, Toronto. After that, it gets dicey. Buffalo is up and coming. I think their defense is stupid. All the way up and down that defensive lineup. Detroit might need to make a splash, but I think what Detroit has what Buffalo lacks, and Buffalo has what Detroit lacks, and that's defense versus offense, right? Ottawa's got to do something. They have to. I don't know where they place. It's difficult to say. Uh, it's hard. There's just a whole bunch of teams there that I feel like they need to do something. So I think the Atlantic is still one of the deepest divisions, and it's very competitive. I don't know who gets that fourth spot. I don't. What do you think? It's hard for me.
I mean, I don't know. I still think Tampa, but that might be like a recency bias, just how they've been the past, 5-10 years. They've always been in the mix. But like you said, with the guys they lost and what they got, I don't know. I mean, they still have the goaltending situation is still great.
But how much do you think Vazzy can go? There's been no team that's played more hockey than the Tampa Bay. Yeah, the Tampa Bay. That's last night coming in. That's last night coming into today.
Still feeling the effects.
Still feeling the effects of the concert. It was just so awesome. Tampa Montreal in the fourth. I don't know about that.
That's a homer right there.
I'm going to address Montreal in a second because I have a point for them. I don't know about Vasilevsky. I just worry that, especially after his back surgery, he came back pretty strong from it, right? But look at his defense got a little weaker for sure. I don't think the offense is as deep as it was. And I think once you start peppering him with shots, he's great. He's going to stop a lot of them. But if he's getting 40 shots a night, 30 plus shots a night, it's going to be hard than what he's used to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Tampa, maybe Detroit. I don't know. I definitely don't think Montreal.
I don't think Montreal yet. And I actually think it depends on the health of Kirby Dach, because that man has gone through some significant injuries. He's been out for the season. He hasn't really developed to his fullest potential yet. And I think that concerns me a little bit. His health is very much a concern. Their defense, as it sits right now, they still have Matheson, I think. I can't remember. Matthias Matheson, I think it is. I can't remember his name. And they still have David Savard, two good defensemen. They have Caden Gooley, and they have a couple other strong guys. Lane Hudson finally in the NHL. Great thing for them. I mean, I'm as a Boston Bruins fan, I hate the Canadians by virtue of being a Bruins fan. But I'm a huge hockey fan too, and I gotta respect Mike Matheson. Thank you. I'm a huge hockey fan first too, and I think Montreal is up and coming, and I think the league itself is a better league when the Bruins, Detroit, and
really
Montreal,
any original six team. I mean,
but when at least half of them are competitive together, that's what I think brings out the best.
Yeah. I know you guys have been breaking down each division in the main pod there you guys do, but I just was curious to see what you thought with the different moves.
Yeah, the Atlantic division is going to be the last division that we covered over at Pucking Around Podcast, just because Florida won the Stanley Cup, and so that's what we're going to end with them. Spoiler alert for those of you who listen to Pucking Around Podcast, that is the plan. So come to HiBruiNation, you get spoilers for the next pods. There we go. Shows how organized we are. Second question. Who makes the team? Merkulov, Lysell, or some other individual for that second right wing spot, and why do you think that is?
I'm going to say Lysell, only because, like we've said before, I mean, I just feel like it's this year or it's nothing, and it obviously depends on how how the offseason goes and how camp goes, and they're doing that how's it called, that not a turn, it's like a prospect tournament or a rookie tournament, whatever the hell is it. You know what I'm talking about?
Are they doing that this year? Yeah. Are they doing that this year though? Like the prospect challenge? I think it was a prospect challenge.
Yes, prospect challenge. The Bruins are playing the September 13th, 14th, and 16th against Pittsburgh, Columbus, and New Jersey.
Do
And
you
a
think
lot of
those are?
those younger guys are playing in those too. So I mean, we'll see that we get an early look at what we got going on.
Do you think Pittsburgh and Columbus are good looks for those young guys, though? Do you think that like those two teams are what you would deem quality like teams to kind of play against or prospect pools to kind of play against? Because
I
you would
mean, it would
think
probably
Pittsburgh's a little
be
dried.
yeah, but it would probably be good to see them in any sort of, not like the black and white game they do or like a scrimmage game, just in a game situation. Really, truthfully, I think any team because it shows. I mean, no matter who you play, I think it shows a lot about the guys that are playing.
No, for sure, and that actually brings my concern about Lysell and how he has a tendency to not go into the corners. And I know Mike and I kind of touched upon this. He's not like you don't want people like Pasternak and Lysell going in the corners because those are your bona fide shooters, right?
Yeah.
Like you would never see a Sagan when he was on the team. He didn't go into the corners that much. That wasn't his role.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you're already on your way to the corner, like, you know what I mean? If you're already chasing it and the defenseman's rushing up with you too, I don't want you to turn away. I'd rather you finish the play on the puck.
Yeah.
Try to cause the turnover. Don't just stop. And
you
I
see that from
like,
a lot of guys across the league. You see that from a lot
Yeah.
of guys, though. I mean, the game is, I don't want to sound like that old school old guy, but the game's changed so much. That kind of stuff doesn't happen. I mean, there are definitely players that do, but it's not like 80% of the team is going to get dirty in the corners anymore. But they're protecting themselves, and it's much more of like a finesse league.
Do you think it also is in part because of his size? Like, do you feel like he knows his size and his own limitations that is kind of making him wary of going to those corners? I mean, personally, I'll address the question. I think you're right, and we're on the mark that Lysell needs to make the team. There's no option for it. I think there will be a spot for Merkulov, maybe not this year, but maybe when Max Jones leaves, because I don't know if the Bruins are going to keep him, that allows Merkulov to enter.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are two of the best Bruins prospects that we have right now in terms of the forward group. Outside of Lerner that we just drafted. So barring any recent draft picks, I think he does need to make that team. But do you think it's also because he's aware of that his own size and his inability to maybe?
It could be. It could be. And like you said, with Merkulov, I mean, it depends. Who knows? I mean, look at the start of last year. Matthew Poitras came in, lit it up, and then got hurt. I mean, not too long into the season, they had to fill that spot too. So, I mean, God forbid nothing happens, but he might get called up. I mean, it could be first 2 months, depending on what happens. You're seeing the same thing with the Red Sox. Guys have been getting hurt left and right, and they have to call up guys that you never would have thought you saw this year.
And some of them excel, right? Like
exactly.
Sometimes they excel, and that is part of it. But with Lysell, he's been in the AHL for some time, and so my concern is like, do you think he's put on the muscle? Are they building him up to the NHL standard where he needs to be at that weight and he needs to be what he needs to be at muscle and everything like that? Do you think they're actually doing that in Providence? Because if you look at Poitras himself came out and said like he knew it was his job to put on muscle, and he did. I think he said 10 to 15 pounds of muscle he put on.
Yes.
So he's doing his part. Do you feel like Lysell is also doing his in regard to that? Because he is a tiny guy. I think he's 5'10", 5'11", something like that.
I mean, I would hope so. You would assume that he knows the situation too, and he knows this year's his best chance, to make the roster for opening night. I mean, so you would hope that he has that in his sights, and he's been prepping for it. And the whole time he's been down in Providence, he's gearing up to make that jump. But who knows? I mean, Lowry played there too, and he's a tall guy, but he's a tall and lanky guy. I mean, he's going to grow into his body, hopefully, but I mean, there's some place he looks like he's like a baby deer out there, but he's just a big guy, and he's good. I love Lowry, but you want to talk, they're just younger guys. And again, hopefully Lysell sees what the potential of what could come mostly from this year, and that he's been gearing up for it. I'm pulling for him. I like him. I hope he does good.
I'm going to take a side question, just side piece, and just acknowledge Alex. Alex, thanks, buddy, for the support. Fans, Alex is one of our guys on Pucking Around podcast. We love having him. He's our local Flyers fan, and we appreciate the support from him as well as we go through these live shows. So also give him a follow as well. He's on Twitter. He posts some really good tweets regarding the Flyers.
Hey, Alec, sorry that Philly didn't win that poll we put out for that road trip. I was low key pulling for it. I feel like that would be a fun trip, but
we would have invited you along too, buddy. We would have had you there.
Unfortunately, didn't get the win.
Just a quick thing on that too. He mentioned to me, have you noticed that almost all of the Bruins Flyers games are matinees? He pointed this out to me, I think in like a chat we were having, or maybe on the podcast or something. I can't remember where, but he had said, I always hate it because most of the Bruins Flyers games have been historically matinee games. Oh, I thought you did vote in it, buddy. I thought you were the only fan that voted for the Philadelphia Flyers. For those of you who can't see the comment, he had said it would have been cool to see. Damn, I should have threw a vote in.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen in the future. We'll also more than welcome to. Hopefully, we hammer out the details for this Toronto trip.
That was going to be
more than welcome.
That was going to be one of the questions that actually dropped from us. But I want to just address Low Rye.
We won't jump ahead.
No, it's fine. It's totally good. I want to address Low Rye. Mike brought this up when he was on 2 weeks ago with me, and he had said that Low Rye started in college as a forward. I didn't know that, and they actually moved him to defense. So
I think I did know that.
It makes sense though if you look at his offensive ability, like especially when he scored that tying goal in Game 7 against Toronto. Or was it Toronto? I think so. I can't remember when, but he kind of jumped down into the play and he had a rocket of a shot over someone's pad. And maybe it was against Florida. So forgive me for not remembering. But I think he's going to grow into a good offensive defenseman for us, who also can just play shutdown at many times. I mean, we saw him play with McAvoy in the playoffs, and that was one of the best pairings that we saw. So I think Low Rye is going to be good too.
I think he's fantastic. I think he has a really good future here.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm super excited.
Real big on Low Rye.
Big Low Rye guy, right? You gonna get that jersey?
I don't know. See, the thing, I haven't bought a jersey in a while, and I feel like if I were to get one now, it would be like an old school one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I would get any current players.
I have too many.
Maybe like before this past year, Bergeron would be like up there. Pastrnak would be up there. I don't know. I'm going to get one soon, though. I don't know what I'm going to get, but I'm going to get one soon.
I have too many, dude. I think I have 4 right now. And it's like one of them's like an old style Cam Neely jersey. I have a Pastrnak, a Swayman, and a Coyle. I'm a little
really. I'm gonna get one that's really out there. I don't know what it's gonna be yet. I'm gonna get one that's.
Yeah, no, Coyle's my favorite Bruin right now. I always liked the middle six guys. I was never. Yeah, absolutely. He's the local guy. I love him. And then we lost the mayor of Walpole. I guess he got voted out. You mentioned a Toronto trip. So, guys, recently we put a poll out on Twitter from the HiBruiNation pod that the boys want to do a road trip. And so we had 3 options on there. And well, a 4th if you really wanted to kind of consider something else. But we figured, we knew a couple people that were Flyers fans, and some of these destinations that we picked were relatively close to Boston or within a reasonable driving distance. And your boys are going to go to Toronto. We're going to do some video vlogging in Toronto, and we actually, one of our followers asked us if we were actually going to go to Toronto and follow through with it. And the answer is yes. We're just actually going to be working out the details. And we're going to be posting some videos on there, perhaps from some famous spots, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How the story goes. And we're going to see a Toronto Maple Leafs game. And I'm hoping the Bruins win because I think any other result would be miserable for us.
We're going to get you some good content. And again, I don't want to jinx anything.
No, we can't make any promises.
We're
not
jinxing. I'm 4-0 in away games. So
you're great.
I'm 4-0. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm 4-0.
I am 0-1. So, yep, not good. Great. Not good, but it's a small sample size. Not
great. Yeah, we'll get some of the fellas. We're going to get some content for you, do a little road trip.
See the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Post some of the videos we got going.
Yeah. Have a nice little bed and breakfast going on there.
Trying to figure out how we're going to get there. We had the idea today. Flying's pretty expensive. It's not. I mean, it's a long drive, but it's not unmanageable. Floating around the idea of getting an RV.
That's going to be the next poll. RV or car.
Yeah, how we're going to get there.
How we're going to get there. Do we fly? Horseback? I don't know. Go
Just
karts?
floating around the idea. We might have
ideas.
an RV trip. An RV trip for the HiBruiNation fellas.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fun one. Alex has a comment. May not be a bad idea for my group. What, for the Flyera? Flyera going to Flyera, big guy? Yeah, go for it. Go to Philadelphia. They have wonderful fans over there. And Alex had a wonderful idea is that we could get there by carrier pigeon. I don't know where he got that idea from. I am 6'2", 210 pounds. I would need a flock. Might be comfortable though. A little windy, but we'd get there.
We're gonna hash out some of those details. We're gonna find the right game to go to, find the right time. I think they play there twice. I believe there's one in early January and one in November. So we'll figure it out. We'll have some updates for you guys soon.
Definitely stay tuned for that, fellas. Definitely. And who knows? Maybe we do get taken there by carrier pigeon. Be a fun story. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, another good question that we got. Who is the Bruins' toughest opponent this year? In our opinions.
In general, or just like...
That was exactly how it was phrased. I'm going to assume in general.
I think based off the past few years, it's got to be Florida. Divisional games. I mean, I hate it, but it's kind of true that the Panthers and the 8 fans that they have think that they just own Boston. And I hate that I can't really disprove that because of how the past couple of years in the playoffs have gone. But I don't know when the games are. I have to look at the schedule, but I think it's got to be, top 2 teams in the division, the top 2 teams in the league.
Oh, I don't know about the league.
I think the league.
I don't know about that. And hey, Nicole. Sorry,
what's going on, Nicole?
Thanks for the support, Nicole. We love you. Bonk Alex off the head for us, if you will. I don't.
Bonk his ass.
Now the Panthers have 22 fans now. I don't know. I will say
they must have gotten a couple since that parade.
Yeah, did you see that video?
That was horrible. Sad. That was sad.
I will say the NHL is doing a much better job of growing the game in Florida than they did in Arizona, so I'll give tons of credit there. And the game is growing. And I think what is it? It's not Emily, is it? I can't remember where the Panthers play. I think Emily is Tampa.
It was the BBT Center. It changed this past year. Hold
on. While you're looking that up, I'll go on. I still don't think the Bruins are top 2 in the league. I think Dallas is still up there.
Oh, I'm not saying top 2. I'm just saying, top.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Handful.
Top handful? Well, you did say top.
Amarant Bank Arena.
Amarant Bank?
That was one of the... I've been down there for one game. Me and my buddy flew down, stayed in Fort Lauderdale for a week and went to the game. It is... Going to a game down there is so much different than going here in the sense that, like, the parking lot, there's people out. I mean, it's nice out in the middle. We went in December. There's people out in shorts, tailgating. The parking lot's gigantic. The rink is huge. I mean, it was definitely a different feel. Here, there's no space for anything.
Well, it's a city. Like, TD Garden's located in the middle of the city.
I know, yeah.
So it gets difficult to do so.
No, it was just cool to see that different format,
Yeah. No, I mean, it is. It gives like a Gillette Stadium kind of feel.
It was cool tailgating hockey games. To me, I mean, that seems like the dream.
Yeah, for sure. Toughest opponent. I might actually say Toronto. But to your point on Florida, do you know we have not won a playoff series against them?
Ever?
They have beaten us, I believe, all 3 times we played against them in the playoffs.
Has it been 3? I mean, I know that they came into the league, 95?
Yeah, and we played them in 96, lost. In 2023, lost. In 2024,
yeah.
Lost. So
that's tough. That's tough for us.
Not looking good. Not looking
That's a
good.
tough look for us.
But in the regular season, we've owned their number. But that, whatever. Who cares about that?
In
It's
the
all
grand
about
scheme
the
of
trophy,
things, how much
baby.
does that matter?
Exactly. I just look at the way Toronto played in the playoffs, and they really gave Boston a run for their money. And I think had Joseph Woll played since game one, I don't think the Bruins beat them. I don't. Ilya Samsonov was not it. Bruins fans, you can hate me. I think it's just a sad reality that I think that would have been real. We could not beat Woll. We could not do it. Is our team better this year? Yeah, but Toronto also improved, but I also don't think they improved enough. I think they might be their toughest opponent because Florida's defense got a little bit weaker. Bobrovsky got another year older, and he's played a lot of hockey. He went 7 games against Edmonton, and he had to stand on his head. I don't know.
He was so good. That playoff, he was so good.
Yeah. I still think had McDavid not went on the run that he did in that playoffs, Bobrovsky was the clear not the Vezina winner, the Conn Smythe winner.
Yeah.
No question in my mind about it. That's just a fact for me. Yeah, but I'm going with Toronto. I don't know.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I mean, I think that those are going to be, they always are great games, fun games to watch, hopefully fun games to be at.
I genuinely think, I lost my train of thought. It's crazy. That
doesn't sound like you.
No, me. I have my
You're
cognitive faculties.
You're always spot on, pronouncing names right.
Always 100%.
Pretty clear.
Never once mispronounced a name. Isn't that right?
No, people say that about you, that you never once mispronounced a name.
Yeah, I have it on a sweater somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just have a huge chip on their shoulder. I think they exercised the demon last year of getting out of the first round against Tampa. What I think the difficulty is now is that they couldn't do it against Boston. And I think they have Greg Berube, who's known how to beat Boston. And just taking all that into consideration, and I'm like, I think that is the final demon they need to slay in order to get to the cup final, is to beat Boston. I am.
You think even if it's like the past couple of years, first round, Toronto, Boston, you think that's going to give them the boost they need?
I think it would give them a lot of confidence just based on the history.
Sweating.
No, you're good. It's
hot down here.
It's a hot take for sure, but I think they could not get past Boston. And look at 2013. They had a 4-1 lead, right? And lost. Or was it a 3-1 lead? It was a huge lead in the third period, and they blew it in 10 minutes.
I think it was 4-1.
And that is absolutely nuts. So I think for them, and a lot of the players that are on the team now weren't on the team at that point, but you still got to think about that. Like, it still adds to the mentality and adds to the history. It adds to the pressure. So I feel like once that's off, their confidence shoots up because they've now slain a bigger demon, just not getting out of the first round, but now beating a team that has owned you for so many years in Game 7, mind you. It's been Game 7 every friggin' time.
And I love it.
Kills me. No, I can't. I had heart palpitations.
Oh, yeah, no, it was tough. It was tough. If it went a different way, it would have killed me, but...
Yeah, I remember sitting there watching it with some of my friends, and I'm just like, if we lose to these posers, I am gonna lose my mind. I can't handle it. I can't.
Yeah, thanks for the invite to that, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
It got lost in the.
Got
lost in the mail. It's fine. I completely understand, and I'm sure you do too. What is the Bruins' worst case scenario? I don't know what was meant by this in terms of like how they finish, or kind of like injuries, what happens to the team.
I'm kind of all right. Take it for on the surface for what it is. Worst case, one of your best injuries has got to be up there.
Yep.
Injuries. One of your top players gets hurt. I don't want to say missing the playoffs, Because I mean,
That can't be
I
it.
don't know. That's a tough.
I'd say for me, not signing Swayman until December,
He's going to be.
until the
I mean,
very last
I
moment.
think he's going to be signed before the year starts.
Oh, so don't I. But I think that is probably your worst case. They're a playoff team the way I see it, but maybe not if they can't sign Swayman until that time.
There was
You know,
I saw on it was actually today on Twitter that Andrew Raycroft was on somebody's podcast. I forget who it was. And he was saying that has no worry about if Swayman gets signed. Like you said, it almost feels like when. So I'm hoping that he knows something that we don't. Being
yeah,
connected and that close to the team, and I hope it gets done soon, just so we can kind of unclench and take a breath.
yeah.
But I do think it's going to get done before the season, and hopefully before camp starts.
I think in terms of injury, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Injuries. I think Pasternak for the season. If we lose Pasternak for the season, that's probably the worst case because there goes
I mean,
your score.
it's got to be injuries. You could say that about anybody. You could say that about Marchand. You could say it about Pasternak. You could say it about. I mean, really, any of you top guys. I mean, you could even like you were saying, like what happens? What happens? Coyle goes down. We just found our 1C. Now what happens? Now what happens if we lose another center? Who feels it's got to be injuries.
Interestingly enough, I think we're deep.
Whoever
We're
asked that
deep at
question, knock
center.
on wood right now.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like it's.
Come on,
I actually
it's
think
making me
we'd be
uncomfortable
okay.
answering that question.
I think we'd be. I think we'd be okay if we lost Coyle because I think you
No,
elevate
but you know what?
Quattro.
But you know what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it could be anybody. If there's an unexpected injury, look at Patre. He comes in, he kind of establishes himself. He goes down, and then what do you do to fill that hole?
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's the thing. I think at the bottom six, you have replacements. When you look at the top six, if you go to LTIR, you open yourself up to the trade deadline to go get an acquisition. But how much are you willing to pay? If I'm
What are
Don
you giving up?
Sweeney, I'm holding on to my first round picks. I'm not spending a lot. I can't do it. You just got your pick back last year. I don't know. I wouldn't do it.
I mean, they have a lot to give. I'm looking at it right now on Puckpedia. They next year they don't have a second or a fourth. In 26th, they have everything but a sixth, and then in 27 they have everything but a third. I mean, so they have picks to throw around. But I agree with you. I mean, looking long term, what are you willing to deal?
Exactly. And I mean, God, let's say Lysell doesn't work. What do you do? Like, could you move him as part of that package? But then again, you're down another right winger. Then could you elevate Merck a lot? Like, and do you have confidence in him? It's just that's my worst case scenario. Yeah, injuries.
Injuries.
Fuck it. It's injuries. There's
It could be any. I mean, you're going to find problems with if anybody goes down.
Yep. That would just I don't know,
Long
that would
term, I'm
decimate
saying
me.
long term.
Long term. Yeah. LTIR. McAvoy. You could elevate Carlo, peak, and then call up Ian Mitchell, but without McAvoy,
I
it
am
gets
I am
hard.
very, very interested to see how McAvoy comes out next year. Comes right out of the gate, and then like pretty much the whole season, long term. And it could
Mhm.
it could be. And I've said it before on previous episodes. I was kind of down on him in the playoffs. He could have just had a bad playoff run. He could have had a bad series, a couple series. But I'm very interested to see how he comes back. If he comes back and performs this year.
The way I see
I'm
it, they
hoping
need
I'm
to
wrong.
attack.
I'm hoping that I was wrong.
No, the way I see it, they need to attack the puck in the playoffs. They
Mm.
can't. I've seen McAvoy and Lindholm now be way too passive, especially against Florida. You can't give people like Sam Bennett, Matty Tkachuk, Barkov. You can't give those people open ice.
Mm.
You can't. You got to respect the players. That's the way
I
I
mean,
see
on a
it.
team like Florida too, they were a wagon. I mean, there were so many good players.
Oh, they had so much depth, and it was their cup to lose. I thought this year, in my opinion, I actually
Yeah.
thought the Carolina Hurricanes had the strongest defense, and wow, they just fumbled that bag.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't.
they were
I don't know.
good.
They just couldn't tell. Yeah, they just couldn't gel. I don't know. And now they have nothing in terms of of defensive depth. Well, I shouldn't say that, but they're definitely not as strong as they were.
Ooh, maybe next road trip. Let's add Carolina to the
It's only a 12-hour car
to
ride
the
to
list.
Raleigh.
I'm just saying. That would be
Definitely,
a fun. That'd be a fun one.
definitely driving to that one. Did I tell you I went to a wedding in Raleigh last year? They wanted to charge me $1,000 for a round trip flight from Boston to Raleigh.
Yeah, that's great. That's
And
roughly around what when I just looked real quick, but what like the numbers were like with the flight and hotel to Toronto, it was like
yeah, this was
$900
just
a
flight,
person. I was like, ugh.
but that's flight and hotel.
Yeah,
But I'm talking this was just a flight. I'm like, no, I'm good. We rented a car. It was a good trip. Not doing it again. Because driving through New York was a nightmare.
yeah, but you get
At
through New
least,
York pretty quick.
oh, I do it with you, but I'm talking about the people
I'm
I
planning
was
on
with, you
leaving.
know.
I'm planning on leaving for again. Hopefully, we hammer up these details for this Toronto trip. I'm planning on, we could leave 11 o'clock the night before.
That's what I'm
on
thinking.
like a
Nighttime.
Thursday, we get there,
No,
9 a.m. on a Friday.
yeah,
We'll figure it
easy.
out, though. We'll figure it out.
Easy. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. Details to come. Details to come. How many games does Jeremy Swayman play now that Omar is gone?
What do you think? I have a number in my. I have like a range in my head. What do you think?
50. Oh God, I want to say between. It's not a big range, but it's 56 to 60 games.
Okay, I was thinking low 60s.
Yeah,
in a perfect world.
I think they're still going to try and give him rest. They're going to, because Don Sweeney and Montgomery said that they believe in Korpisalo, which means to me that's at least 20 games that he's going to play.
Yeah.
And I think depending on how tired Swayman looks, if there's a lot of back-to-backs, expect
I was going to say it depends on the schedule
more.
too. It depends.
Yeah.
I don't have it in front of me, but it depends on the schedule.
In terms of his win-loss, I could see him getting 38 wins. Maybe. Out of his, it depends.
Let's call it 60. Let's call it just hypothetical. Let's call it 60.
Yeah, if he were to play 60 games, I'll give him 38 wins and maybe a couple overtime losses and a couple losses in there. Sprinkle some stuff in there. I mean, it's like a nice little cake.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
It's really a hard
in that
question.
ballpark.
Yeah, it's good. I think he's still a top 5 goaltender in the league, in my opinion.
I could not be more in on Swayman. It stinks to lose Allmark. We've talked about it before, and I'm gonna miss people. Some people got sick of it. I'm gonna miss the hug. But
how the hell can you get sick of something like that?
I don't know.
It's such a nice, it's such a good ritual. Like these guys are still, these players are still guys at the end of the night.
Did you see they were? It might have been last night or over the weekend. They were all at Pasternak's wedding. I saw like DeBrusk was there, Taylor Hall was there. They're all just still palling around.
Oh yeah, that's what I love about it. There'll be animosity during the games, but at the end of it, I'm sure they text each other and be like, you know what, if I slashed you, that's my bad. I don't think there's many players that hold grudges. There are those that do for sure. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure when Matt Cook was in the league, he really didn't have many friends outside of his teammates. You know what I mean? There are just players that are generally not so kosher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I thought it was fun. They were all wearing Croatia. They flew out. The wedding was in Croatia. They all flew out there wearing awesome. Croatia bucket hats and shit. And they were showed them all dancing. I loved it.
Yeah, and just
guys being dudes.
You mentioned it. The players that are there too, in the form of Taylor Hall and Jake DeBrusk. And I like to see that Jake still holds nothing against the Bruins or the organization. It just sounds like he doesn't hold anything against anybody.
No, I think that even it came out, he did an interview when he said that he had requested a trade twice. I don't think that has anything to do with the team. I really don't. You said it before. I think it was a lot before. It was a Cassidy thing, and it might have been an organizational thing. But I don't think that there was anything wrong with him and the guys.
No, he said. I think that was one thing he said. He loved every person in there, and I think that speaks a lot to the leadership that was in there too. Be it Chara, Bergeron, Marchand, who have you. And I think they helped with that situation. Probably awkward because I guess the way he said it, that the way management came out and brought it up. it kind of leaked and he wasn't happy about that, but it was awkward at first, but a lot of the guys supported him. So I think that's what mattered most to him.
I know you always like seeing that those guys, even the guys that are gone from the team. I mean, it hasn't even been a one game out of Boston yet, but just those guys that still keep in touch. Or at least for me, I mean, like I said, you probably know growing up, in the locker room around a lot of the guys to see that bond still there. I like seeing that.
I mean, even if you look at it from friendships too, just a matter of perspective. Like there's childhood friends that stay friends forever, and then there's just childhood friends that can separate, but when they reconnect, it's like nothing's ever changed, right? So it's a wonderful thing to say. Like you and I went to college together, for example, right? Like we're not in class every day, or when when you forget to tell me that you're not going to class, so I can also skip with you.
Allegedly,
yeah, I was there. I I remember.
Allegedly,
Pepperidge Farm remembers Vogel.
No, just love seeing the guys, still be guys,
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of touched on this. Do the Bruins add at the deadline this year? If so, what do they add and what do they give up?
That is tough.
I mean,
that's tough. When is the trade deadline? Like that depends on how the whole year goes. I mean, we got who knows what happens between now and then. What spot they're in.
I think the question was based because there's uncertainty in like one or two spots in the lineup. I would say it's only one spot, and like I said, it's the right wing position for me. They could try and go get a right winger if it's available, but what are you willing to pay? I'm not willing to pay more than a second round pick right now. I can't. We need the first round picks, even if they're high picks. Take them. That's all.
That's tough. Hopefully, they're in a spot where they don't have to be looking to add at the trade deadline. I mean, I'm sure they always are looking for, an upper hand, but hopefully they're not like desperate to. They put themselves in a spot where they're not desperate to add anybody.
Worst case, and let's talk about worst case scenario with the trade deadline. So imagine if Pasternak goes on LTIR. Well, other teams abused that rule, so why can't we, right? So if he goes on LTIR, then I'm actually willing to. Then I will pay a first round pick.
Well, look, it's all circumstantial. Yeah. It's all circumstantial. Like I said, hopefully they put themselves in a position. Hopefully there's no worst case scenario injuries. Hopefully they're on track for the playoffs and they're comfortable around that time.
I think this year you're going to see a lot of injuries towards playoff time because have you seen the gauntlet that a lot of teams are going to be facing post like this? I think it's the Four Nations Cup or something like that they're doing.
That is in place of the All-Star game. I found that out a couple weekends ago.
Yeah, but have you looked at the schedules of a lot of teams post that?
Have you looked at where those games are going to be played?
No, I haven't had a chance. I only know what's happening.
Montreal.
Yeah.
And Boston.
So we're going, is what you're saying.
I would love to. I love that whole tournament, that Four Nations at the Bell Center and the Garden. So I would love to, but who knows what tickets are going to be like? That would be awesome to see.
Yeah, but with the talent that they would probably have on the teams, you're looking at, that's the difficulty. Anything involving McDavid, just to see that is skyrocket.
It's taking in place of an Olympic team. Just all the guys from the NHL. It's the United States, Canada. I want to say Finland and Sweden.
I don't know. I know U.S., Canada. I think Finland is one of them. I don't think the other. Yeah, because I think Finland and Sweden have the next highest count of like NHLers in the league. So I think that would make sense. Unless they do like a European team.
So it's February 12th to the 20th of next year at the Bell Center and the Garden. And it is Canada, Finland, Sweden, and the United States.
All right, smart. Hey, there you go. Never put doubt in you, buddy.
So I would love to go see that. Since I will probably never be an All-Star game here, I would love to go see that.
No, the last one was in '94, right?
No,
I think so.
95.
Oh, maybe. I would love for the All-Star game to come back to Boston. I would pay in a heartbeat to go see that.
Cool. I've always wanted to go. My buddy went out to LA a couple of years ago. Said it was awesome.
They have a whole it's kind of like the Super Bowl week, right? Like they have a whole bunch of
Oh,
fun
yeah.
events for
Yeah, yeah.
kids and things like that, and adults. Personally, I think we would do great at the slap shot challenge. So I think that's our time to get drafted. You know what I mean?
Just so you
That's
know,
what it
not
is.
to get off topic, there is a Bruins Fan Fest they announced, and I did see pictures and videos, and there is a couple of those shooting challenges going on. So
All right, well, let's grab a
I'm
couple
just throwing
beers
it
and
out
go.
there.
I'm just saying, let's grab a cut. And all I'm saying is, let's grab a couple beers and we'll go. I'm not saying anything's gonna happen outside of us maybe getting arrested, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, you better practice.
Yeah, right. How do the Bruins fare in the NHL? And I'm guessing they mean overall, where do we place them? I'm gonna say top 6 because I feel weird about saying top 5.
Yeah, I feel I feel like a lame-o just agreeing with you, but I was top 5-ish.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think I have them at 6th in the league.
Mm-hmm. Where'd they finish last year?
Ooh, I don't know. 100. We had 110. We were only a couple points away from the President's Trophy, so I think we were around 4th or 5th in the league.
Give me your best guess right now.
Where we were last year?
Yeah, if you're wrong, you got to buy me dinner.
Oh, you don't need to, dude. I'll cook for you. You don't need to worry about it.
No, you got to buy me dinner. Give me your final answer.
5.
Nope, 7.
Really?
I mean, Boston and Vancouver both had 109 points, but yeah, 7.
Vancouver had the tiebreaker, I think.
Yeah.
Road. I'm assuming it was the road number. Yeah, because we were OT merchants for the month of February.
They had 50 wins. We had 47.
Bummer. All right, well, looks like I owe you dinner.
So yeah, 7th. So around same thing, around 6. Hopefully, 6, 5, 4. I don't think they're a top 3 team. Excuse me. So maybe in that 5, 6, 7 range.
Rick's actually being generous as a Habs fan. He's saying top 10. We're definitely a playoff team for sure.
Yeah, well, Rick's a noted Bruins fan.
Absolutely. He has a puck signed by Bobby Orr. And if you actually pay attention real close, he has a tattoo of Zdeno Chara signature on his ass.
I'm sure he's going to love that.
He does, yeah, especially with the hit that happened to Max Pacioretty.
Yeah.
He's probably cursing us out behind the scenes right now. It wasn't his fault, Rick. They should have had curved glass. My bad. And Pacioretty shouldn't have been there.
He dove.
Yeah, he dove right into the boards. Oh man, that one's gonna get us yelled at for that one. I'm surprised he hasn't hopped in here to say "F you guys." Oh, he did. He typed it. Oh God. Yeah, I'd say 6th. I have.
Yeah,
6th.
in that ballpark, I would say 6, 5, 6, 7. Hopefully.
Ooh, this is what I liked. This was the question, my favorite one.
Hit me with it.
Who was your favorite Bruin and why, both current and former?
You want to take the lead on this one?
Sure. I'll start with the current. Current is definitely Charlie Coyle. I think he's just a stand-up guy. To be honest with you, I liked him in Minnesota. And plus he's a hometown guy, and I think as I stated, I liked a lot of the middle 6 people. So when the Bruins went on their cup run, I loved Danny Payet. Well, Danny Payet was more of the bottom, and Greg Campbell, but I liked a lot of the middle 6 guys in general too. That's where I think my favorite players go. I think liking Pasternak is just too basic for me.
Yeah.
And liking Marchand, I mean, I love the guys. Don't get me wrong, but I think in terms of in general, yeah, Coyle has it for me. And he stepped up too. And Rick is saying his current is Swayman and all-time is Bobby Orr. Take note, everybody. Very rarely does a Montreal fan give any Bruin any credit ever. And here we are. Not bad from a closet Bruins fan. That's going to be the running joke from now on, Pucking Around podcast, and he's going to be so pissed. It's going to be so funny every time. I can feel the steam coming out of his ears. My former is actually someone that I never watched play, but he's my namesake. So I'm going to say Cam Neely. His career actually ended the year I was born, I believe, in '94. It was either '94 or '96. I could be wrong, but it is. Hi,
Hey,
Britt.
Brittany.
Thank you for joining. Yeah, it's definitely Cam Neely. He was an excellent Bruin. His career, I think, was cut a little bit short from the injury that he sustained. Yeah, and he was also in Dumb and Dumber, one of my favorite Jim
Really?
Carrey movies. Yeah, he was Seabass.
I've never seen Dumb and Dumber, but
You've never seen Dumb and Dumber?
no,
Not once.
not once.
Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. You've
I don't
never
like Jim
seen them.
Carrey.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no.
You're un-American.
I'm not on record, not a Jim Carrey guy.
Unbelievable. It's fine. He's from Vancouver. I think he's from Vancouver. He's from Canada. I know
Somewhere
that.
up there,
Yeah, he's a Canadian. That's fine. He represents. Yeah, I mean that's for me. It's pretty short, sweet, to the point. I just love Cam Neely.
I think for me, it would probably. I mean, a lot of younger guys on the team, so I'm going to go with the guy that's been around for a while. Very disliked by a lot of the league, but I think that he, in the past couple of years, has grown out of that. And Brad Marchand, when he was first named the captain, I was kind of iffy about it too, just based on his past and how that would translate to being the leader of the team with so many younger guys. And I still think that he has that little, that pain in the ass little like I don't want to say cheap shot, but he's very chippy. He can take some shots, but I very much think that he's not completely grown out of that because we still see it. But I definitely think that he has changed his game for the better. He drives me nuts, and I'll say it a million times. I said it last year in the playoffs. I'll say it a million times again. I feel like he turns the puck over unnecessarily, way more than he should. But I do like the way that he's a veteran guy. I think that he's changed his game to kind of fit that leadership mold. I don't know how much longer he has. I don't know what his next contract's going to be. I don't know who's going to take over after him. And again, that's just a longevity thing because he's been on the team since 2010, something like that.
Yeah.
So I would probably say him, like you were saying, Pasternak's a very, cookie cutter favorite player. I got to agree with Rick. Swayman's up there. I'm very excited to see what he can do. I got real big on him, the way he played his ass off last year. All time, I would have to say, we were saying before the show, just talking about, just guys growing up and stuff. I was a big Joe Thornton guy growing up. The couple of years he was here. When I was younger, playing like squirt hockey, I was a forward. I loved Joe Thornton. I thought he was awesome. But I think all time I would have to go Ray Bourque, which might be a little stereotypical,
it's a little basic,
answer.
But
that's what I mean. But
good pick.
I think great career in Boston. He's still local. I used to work at a I won't say which one, but I used to work at a golf course at a country club doing, groundskeeping, and he was a member there, and he was always really cool. And when he went to Colorado to go for that cup run, and I still get chills watching it every time I see it. They win the cup. Sakic takes the cup and doesn't even hoist it, hands it right to Bourque. You get chills every single time I see that video. It's one of my favorite hockey moments ever. So I'd have to, Ray Bourque. You know what? I just decided next jersey, Ray Bourque.
My first ever Bruins game was actually a Colorado Avalanche game and Boston Bruins game in Colorado.
No way.
It was awesome. So Colorado
Really?
is my second favorite team. Yeah. Wow. Yep.
It
was the year before they won the cup.
No, really?
Yeah. So I was able to
fly out there for the game, or
no? My godmother actually lived out there for a little bit, so my mother and I would go see her. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Yeah, it was great.
That's cool. My first, I forget what year it was, and I forget who even. I mean, at that time, who was on the other team? It was a St. Louis game at the Fleet Center. I remember that. I don't remember if they won it. I had to be. I was real young. My dad took me, but first game, St. Louis Blues.
Oh, that's a great game, ladies and gentlemen. we would like to thank you guys for showing up tonight. For those of you who listen live, it's always a pleasure for us to know that we have such wonderful fans who support us. And for those of you who will be listening to this afterwards, we just appreciate you just as much as those who are here live today. We plan to do more of these later, but ultimately that's going to wrap it up from us. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Keep listening. Follow us on Twitter. Follow the new @HiBruiNation pod on Twitter. Ciao, everybody. Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.